Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. Do you know, I need to change that. I need to stop saying good morning, because we put it out as a video podcast and an audio podcast, and it could be like, yeah, it's actually 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but the benefit of us doing this now is that we're talking to the people that are in the chat joining us. So what would you say? Hello. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good start.
All right, mate.
All right, mate. Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads. A couple of finger snaps in the air.
Jordan. But anyway, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. As Bibby just mentioned, we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, and I've lost them. There we go. And as you can see on the screen now, if you're watching live on Twitch, my name is Graham Day, and I'm joined by the man in a hat. Your head kind of blends in a little bit to the chair there. It looks like you've got the smallest flat. You look like a 3-head.
I've just got this then for a while. Alright, guys.
Well, this is the man they call Bibby.
Good morning.
So we are live on Twitch. We turn. I'm jumping past myself. You can tell I've had a nice heavy weekend. Now, we are live on Twitch. This is The Scoop. We bring you the biggest and best news articles each and every single weekday to give you your daily dose of games industry news. We give you our thoughts and impressions of the biggest stories of the day, and we want your thoughts and impressions in the chat live on Twitch. And that's important because we turn this into a video podcast that we put out on YouTube a little bit later on in the day. So if you are here, your thoughts and impressions are vital because you give us the discussions that the guys watching on demand can't get. I mean, they get the ability to pause and rewind, fast forward, do all that jazz, but they can't do the back and forth. So Absolutely. If you are live, make sure you do that. And then we turn it into an audio podcast as well. On iTunes and Spotify and Google Play and what's
all of the things.
Soundcloud. But yes, thank you everyone in the chat. Good morning to Ads Players and Number One Pirate dropping hosts already on the
legends.
Show. Absolute legends. Also, Dave says, whenever you say good morning, I expect someone to say, yeah, from the legend. Good morning!
It is a banger, that.
Scooter!
Not a fan of Scooter, but that is a banger.
I'm not a fan of Scooter.
No.
So just going to go to a whole screen while we
fight this out. Yes, Samantha's a big Scooter fan.
Would you like big scooters?
Big scooters, mate. Mobility scooter. The hand. What are they called? Like ride-on scooters. The scooter situation is way above my pay grade. Yeah, what are they called? The ride ones that you have one foot on and
scooters.
Is that just a scooter? Like, but
the little like metal ones that came out a few years ago. Well, I say a few. It was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They were called micro scooters.
Right. Okay. Because then you've got the road scooters.
So you got like the
the air dryer ones. Yeah.
They're scooters, but then kids' scooters were like micro scooters, but a bit fatter with bigger sort of like bike wheels on them.
But did you ever try and do? Did you ever have one? Did you ever own one? Did any of your mates ever have one?
What, a micro scooter?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've dicked around them. I never actually owned one myself, but
Did you ever very nearly break the fuck out your shin?
I very nearly broke the fuck out of everything. My shin, other people's shins, everything.
You try to do a little trick, goes, woo! And then smacks you with like you're incapacitated for a week.
We need a scooter game. Speaking of that, and also nearly breaking my ankles, there was... I used to spend summers in a village in the middle of nowhere called Flockton, halfway between Huddersfield and Wakefield. And we built, as every kid does, a death trap, or a ramp, as other people call it. And I remember trying to do the, is it an ollie, where you jump and you spin the bike out underneath?
That's a tail whip.
Oh, that's what it is, it's a tail whip.
Come on, mate, you know what I mean? You never played Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX?
Of course I played Matt Hoffman, but I'm also old, mate. But yeah, I tried to do a tail whip, and I remember going up this ramp, jumping, and it was like a slow-mo as the scooter went around. I thought, got this, and it's coming around. I'm going, okay, I'm going to brace myself for the landing. Straight on the bone of the ankle, but it went like that's slow-mo. In reality, it was like big lump of metal, bang, straight into my ankle.
On our street, we used to get wax candles and just rub them on the curbs so that you'd think it was like a really grindable surface. But in reality, as soon as you hit that, the scooter stops, so your skateboard stops, and you carry on. So it's just your body just carry. Like that video that we seen a couple of weeks ago, where that guy's just skateboarding down and it hits a pipe, and his body just carries on. Quality. The Scoot. Yeah, that's the new. Welcome to the new podcast. Oh, we're gonna talk about all the old extreme games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX.
And we run down the
X
5
BMX.
best curb candles that you can buy today.
Oh, the ramps as well. Yeah, we used to get plastic ramps, but I don't know how people are actually able to use them, because as soon as you hit the ramp would move. So there was no way of actually weighing the ramp down for you to be able to go, because it was just made out of plastic. So as soon as you hit it, you'd just fling the ramp about 30 yards in front of you.
There was I watched a video, I can't remember where it was. It was this weekend, and it was like, imagine like a festival or a big like park, and there's a bunch of people around all having beers and stuff, and then there's in all logical sense, there's a bonfire. What am I going to do? Let's put a ramp and go over it. And this guy's on his bike, and it's obviously there's like a bit of wood or whatever, a few bits of wood on fire, and then there's this other bit of wood leaning on a bit of wood. Guy comes down on his bike, just drives straight into the ramp. Ramp just goes straight down the middle, and he just kind of goes face first into the fire.
Honestly, there is never anything funnier in this world than someone falling over. It doesn't matter, like, I mean, if you are an 80-year-old man and you fall over, it's not as funny, but still, you are having a little bit of a...
I remember, like, at the moment I sealed my one-way ticket to hell, I was on a bus coming back home from work when I used to have a job in a news agency in the middle of Huddersfield Town, going to my house, and this woman stood up.
You're just punching that ticket again.
It was everything. She stood up and she pressed the bell. And the bus driver, like, didn't realise where the stop was, so slammed on. And do you know, like, where you get like the pram bays kind of thing, where you've got like no seats? There was just this pole in the middle of it, and she was kind of like walking past it, but because he slammed on, she kind of went. The pole went in between her arm. She just kind of spun round it. But it was the noise that went with it as well. Everyone's like, oh, "Are you all right?" And I'm there at the back of the bus like.
There's nothing funnier, right? There's nothing funnier than being on a bus and it got a little demonstration for you, and someone is holding on to the rings, and the bus goes up. And they're just falling down the centre of the bus. There's nothing funnier. Oh, God. Anyway.
So yeah,
did you play anything this weekend? I apologise if there's any 90-year-old blokes that have fallen down a bus recently or pirouetted in the front of it. Oh, composure.
Some 41. Because you don't know us at all. We laugh when no people fall.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we played Fortnite on Friday.
Yes, we did. It went reasonably well.
We trialled a new setup. It worked really well. So for those of you that don't know, myself and Bib are the undisputed world heavyweight champions at Fortnite. We just like to let other people feel good as well. So when we go to Fortnite, we just hand out free downs and free knockouts and free dubs to other people, because that's kind of who we are. Anyway, on Friday we decided to do some split screen dual play. So me on one side of the screen, so like over there, and then Bibby over there, kind of thing, or vice versa. And Fortnite in the middle, and it worked pretty well.
It worked really well. I think the highlight of the stream was me and Alfie jumping on a launch pad.
And me jumping over.
And you jumping over the launch pad and go, oh shit.
There was a little bit of a delay. Like I expected Alfie to like put the floor down, put the pad and go, but he kind of put the floor. And I don't know whether he misclicked or something.
No, it was somebody else's. It was somebody else's that had already been made. So as I was shooting, because I read
that was a different one. That one, because that one he had to build up the ramp and put.
Oh yeah.
But he so like he went up, put the thing down, but because he was building so fast, in my mind I'm thinking like ramp. So I'm thinking ramp, floor thing, boom. So, but it was like ramp, floor thing, boom. So I just kind of like jumped and I was like, fuck. No.
I proper tickled with that. I said, oh shit.
You missed it, didn't you? Yep.
Oh god. It proper tickled me. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed. I mean, I'm enjoying playing Fortnite again anyway. It's I don't want to say it's catering to my every need because I'm terrible at the game, but I'm playing for the battle pass and I'm playing for the challenges, which is making the game super enjoyable for me.
I love the fact that I was thinking, oh, you know, it's going to cost me £8 to get the battle pass, but it'd be worth it. It cost me nothing because I got last battle pass and it just works like that. GG's.
Exactly.
I don't talk about homemade ramps. I've still got the scar. That's true. David went over a homemade ramp that had a nail in it and it just ripped his leg to
Jesus
pieces.
Christ.
Also, Graham once kicked me off the seat on the school bus when he went around the corner in front of most of my class. My ass bounced. That's true. We were on a bus, and obviously bus seats now you get like individual seats, but back then like they were flat double seat kind of thing. And I'm sat there next to the window. David was sat next to it, and in fairness, he was being a bit of a dick. So it was taking the piss or something, or hitting me or whatever, and I just thought, you know what, I've got this. So I just sat there, didn't retaliate because I knew on the bus route there was a really hard corner coming that turned right. So as the bus came, I sat there like that, and as I turned the corner, like usually you go as you turn, and I went boom, butt bounced him, and he just went straight off into the middle of the aisle. But
how much older is he than you?
3 years older than me.
So is he 3 school years above you? Was it 3 or 4 school years above you?
3 school years.
Yeah, imagine that, just your younger brother just wasting you. He just waiting for the screen to go.
The thing is, they couldn't even tell that I wasted him. Everyone at the back of the bus, because we were quite near the front, just saw
wasted.
Yeah, bus goes around the corner, and then.
I apologise for anyone that's listening to this on demand because you wouldn't have seen that coming, so it would have been super
Yeah,
loud.
that was a GTA wasted noise, by the way, I'm sure you know. Number one pirate in the chat says, here is a story for you. I was once going to work as normal, as I usually do, and I still don't know how it happened, but I managed to fall up an escalator. Now, that's funny on its own, but remember when you're falling, what do? You put your hands out, and that's exactly what I did, straight onto the arse of the woman in front of me. Now, most people saw what happened and cracked up, but this woman looked vexed as I continuously tried to explain what happened.
I wasn't expecting the story to go like that. I was expecting him to say he was holding onto the rail, so we were just travelling up this escalator, holding onto the rail as his body's just being dragged up these metal stairs.
See, as I was reading that, it read almost like, because there was like a couple of stages of building into the start of the story. I thought it was going to be one of those sort of like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air memes, like, here's a story. I was once going to work as normal, as I usually do, and I still don't know how it happened.
And my life got flipped turned
upside down, and I'd like to take a minute. But anyway, that's enough idle chatter. Let's jump into our first news story of the day. And we've kind of had this story pop up a few times before, but it's kind of the same thing again. Unfortunately, Nvidia's GeForce Now, which looked like it was going to be the Stadia killer, as we referred to it in a previous stream, it's not having the slick, effortless takeover that we expected. Nvidia's GeForce Now loses 2K games titles following Activision and Bethesda. 2K publishes Bioshock, Borderlands, and more. This is written by Jay Peters from The Verge. Nvidia said today that game publisher 2K Games is pulling its library from the company's GeForce Now cloud gaming service at 2K's request. Per publisher request, please be advised 2K Games titles will be removed from GeForce Now today. We are working with 2K Games to re-enable their games in the future, said Nvidia community manager Corey Banks in a post on Nvidia's forums. When asked for comment, Nvidia pointed The Verge to this February the 20th blog post. Not going to click on the link, but the article continues saying 2K publishes the Bioshock trilogy, Borderlands series, Civilization games, and NBA 2K series, among others. So the publisher's withdrawal is a big loss for GeForce Now, which just left beta on February the 4th. Nvidia is now offering a premium version of the cloud gaming service as a public trial for $4.99 a month. Yet the switch to charging customers for the service has instigated a wave of game removals. 2K pulling its games from the service follows the departures of Activision, Blizzard's and Bethesda's games last month, meaning that many popular titles aren't available to play on the newly public service. 2K hasn't replied to a request for comment, and Activision, Blizzard and Bethesda haven't yet explicitly said why they pulled their games either. All three publishers allowed their games on GeForce Now while it was in beta, but at least in the case of Activision Blizzard, Nvidia reportedly never got permission to keep Activision Blizzard's titles on GeForce Now after it left beta and started charging people money for it. There is still a very limited free tier of GeForce Now too. Presumably Bethesda and 2K Games had their games removed from GeForce Now for similar reasons, likely due to some form of licensing dispute. The promise of cloud gaming services seems great. Stream all your games in high fidelity over the internet without having to worry about whether or not your computer, console, or phone have the hardware to run it. But the hard-to-track content shuffling we see on streaming services, the early days of cloud gaming have shown that similar types of licensing issues may dictate what games you can actually stream. My colleague Nick Stat wrote a great article, blah, 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 blah. We don't need to know about other articles. The main issue is that 2K games, following Activision, following Bethesda, are now not freely available on GeForce Now.
It's becoming quite a puddle of games that they're not allowed to have on their platform anymore.
Nice audible nose blow for the podcast.
So those people who are using, obviously, the GeForce Now are having their libraries cut in half and then half again, with the 3 massive publishers now not hosting their games on there. They have kind of taken the blame for it, which is great, being front of centre, saying it's our fault, we didn't get permission, which is great. It just means that they are being honest. It's a weird one, knowing full well that they would have needed permission for them not to gain access to that initially. I mean, there would have been talks, first of all, to say, can we put this in the public trial? They would have adhered to the public trial part, but then, like, if you are making a money transaction once it finishes and you're going into a public domain, that's where the grey area kind of comes about. And if they didn't seek that permission, then these companies are well within their rights to stop hosting their game. Does it feel like this has gone back slightly?
Yeah, that's why I keep... Long story short, we have an elevated platform because this is a standing desk and a sitting desk. But a sitting desk, you need a platform raised up. For those of you listening to our audio podcast, we're basically discussing how high we are behind the desks. Anyway, long story short, we're not as close to it as we
usually I'll be able to get my legs on. I mean, I might put my feet on the bottom. I mean, this is so fucking boring for people who don't know, but I usually put my feet on the bottom, but it feels like I'm much further away. I'll look at it afterwards. Very strange. But yeah, it's weird that it's been halved and then halved again with the 3 major publishers now not hosting their stuff. But it just should... It comes down to common courtesy and manners. Can we put your games on there, yes or no? You haven't given us an answer, we'll put them on anyway. Now they've been taken off, potentially indefinitely.
I've got so many mixed feelings about it. The fact that we have something amazing like GeForce Now, which isn't a Stadia directly. It's a definite competition, but Stadia's a new platform where you have to pay for things over and over again. GeForce Now says, you've paid for this already. We're giving you an opportunity to play it wherever you want, which is amazing. Love that idea. The idea then that a company that offers something so technically advanced that can take games from your Steam library, can take games from your Epic library and spit them out onto your mobile phone when you're at the other side of the world. Someone doing all of that, but then failing to just go, actually, can I use your games?
Yeah.
It makes me think, if you can miss something so trivial, then is that a sign that so much more could go wrong down the road? Or is it a case of it is just so trivial that it's easily missed, but they've taken care of everything else?
Well, it is one of them things. We've given credit where credit's due in the past to the likes of Google Stadia when they've done something right, or we feel they've done something right as consumers. And we called GeForce out for potentially changing the game when it comes to taking your game library on the go wherever you go. They are starting to lose these titles now, and you've got I've got nothing better to say for them at the moment, apart from you're kind of shooting yourselves in the foot. You were so, with the mentality that you had, was so far ahead of some of your competitors, and now it just turns around. It just seems like either one, you was a little bit too arrogant in thinking that these would just jump on with you and change the game, in the way that people consume their games, but it's not looking good for them at the moment because all it takes is another couple of publishers. If Ubisoft pull the plug, then
I'm not sure that it's entirely that way because I'm dubious with anything like this. Publishers want money, so I think there's a very money focused anti-consumer side to this as well. I would be surprised if there isn't. Morning Precision, thank you very much for the host, you beautiful man.
Thank you very much, pal. But do you think they're entitled to that?
Well, that's. I think that's where the conversations need to take place. We kind of need to look at it. So the issue is that Nvidia GeForce have created this system. This system allows you, Mr. Activision, to have your games be played by me. So people have given you the money for this game anyway. You're not bothered if they play it on a GTX 1080 Ti or an RTX 2080 Ti, whatever. You're not bothered what hardware they've paid to play it on. You just know that they've paid for it. I am effectively creating a new platform for someone to be able to access the game that you've been paid for. All they are doing then is saying, look, to pay for this service to access your games that you've paid for, so the publisher's getting money. Pay me £5 and I'll make sure you get priority services. And it's literally that. So that for me, I don't feel the publishers should be going, give me that money. It's like you've literally been paid. I'm giving you another road to travel to your destination, your game. But I think it's probably come as a result of that poor communication, because they've gone, we're doing a beta, and then it's gone live, and they've not told them, and they've gone, okay, what's this $4.99 thing? Publishers, I would be surprised if they've not just gone, well, you're earning money, so we want a cut of the pie, and it's like, no, we literally are making your pie freely available.
So where do you think that stands with the likes of Koch Nordic, who have Dead Island being put onto Games Pass? So I could go onto my Games Pass on my phone now and play Dead Island on there. They've obviously got a partnership with Microsoft to be able to host their game on. There's 1,000,001 games that aren't Microsoft owned. I say 1,000,001. That is not the case.
It's 1,000,003 actually.
Yeah, there's about 63 games on Game Pass as far on the mobile version on xCloud. Sorry, not Games Pass, on xCloud right now. If I was to log in, I could play Dead Island if I wanted to. I could play DayZ if I wanted to. There's a ton of other games that aren't Microsoft owned on that platform. Where do you think that sits with them then? Do you reckon that they've paid a subsidiary amount to Microsoft to be able to go in there? Or do you think that, like the GeForce Now stuff, they had the opportunity to have it on there as a beta phase, and now when it goes...
Games Pass?
Yeah, and, well, on xCloud.
Oh, I think it's kind of... I don't think that they'll be getting a kickback from it in that sense, unless if it's Games Pass and people are downloading it and playing it through Games Pass, then they will get funded for it. It's like the and Apple Arcade or whatever it's called. They get paid through that if they own the game already, and they're playing it through xCloud because they own it. I believe that'll just be the same sort of mentality of, okay, it's within the Xbox ecosystem, it's fine. And I think they kind of get past that purely because of labeling, because the xCloud is an extension of your Xbox. They're going, oh, that's fine. But because Nvidia GeForce is someone else, they're going, oh, that's another payday then. So then, yep, we should have some of this. And rather than these publishers getting behind GeForce Now and saying, look, this is something that could be better for everyone. We need to look at how we monetize it, but how about we build the system now? And I'm probably being a bit judgmental in saying that, because I'm looking at it as a consumer standpoint. I think it is shit that they're going, nah, you're not having it. Let's take it off because we're not getting paid. But the probability is, or the possibility is, if you're reading the articles, every article has said we're working to re-enable their games in the future, and maybe that's these publishers have gone, actually, that's my product, and you've not asked my permission. Yeah. So get off. So if they're working with them to re-enable them, maybe they will say, do you know what, we will put them on, and we're not going to say for every $4.99 you get a month we want £1, because obviously there's 1 million games, it'd have to be like 10p or whatever. Maybe they're not even going to ask for a profit share, but maybe they might say, okay, we'll work with you to build a platform, and then we will talk about, no, we're not even talking about, we should have contracted ways that we can earn from this, or we can get ad placement or something, and maybe it's things like GeForce Now starts to have a storefront like Epic and Steam, so that you can buy the games through there, which then gets kickbacks and things through. So maybe there's potentially things in it like that. As long as the conversations are ongoing about how they can work together, that's fine. If it's just a case of Nvidia are being held by 2K, Bethesda, and so that they can get money off them, then it's shit for the consumer. Us at the end of the end of the chain that have got the money to pay for it, that have paid for that game, and I just want to be able to play it on the go. The fact that GeForce Now said, okay, here you go, you can play that on the go. That's like you going, actually, you come to my house and you can play it on my PC. I'm like, nice. But then Activision going, actually, that's not your PC. So £2. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? It's the same sort of mentality. Obviously, it's not, because there is a money-making bit. And when they start charging $4.99 for facilities and things like that, but those payments are... It's like PS Plus or Xbox Live. You pay your 30-40 quid a year, That doesn't go to CD Projekt and to Rockstar. That goes to Sony to pay for the servers and the infrastructure and everything like that. And that's where it goes. And that's what GeForce now is. But because it's a separate company, they've all gone.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, this is obviously a podcast that you can either listen to on the go or you can watch it on YouTube, Twitch later on. And obviously you having opinions and giving us your feedback is ultimately what we're asking for. We want you to join in the conversation. I've come across something that I don't think you would have actually seen yet, but we obviously put our stuff on YouTube as well. So someone has actually replied to one of our videos and given their feedback, which I encourage every single one of you to do. Now, it is a bit of a doozy, so strap yourselves in, but it kind of goes across loosely to what we're talking about. So this gentleman here has put, it's Microsoft totally out of scope with gamers. Most gamers I know couldn't care less about streaming services. They want consoles that can choose how they use it. Options are everything. I will continue to buy my games myself. I don't play 5 games at once like I have the option of selling it when I'm done towards a new game, or holding it at a game which could potentially be worth something to a game collectors one day. I like the collector's side a little, I follow it but don't dabble with it that much. But that will be killed off by Netflix gaming. Plus, internet gaming is already pretty bad now since it has the offline option when needed. Imagine everyone on the platform, mostly owned third world countries, millions of them signed in with mobile plans or Google balloons, whatever, and the network not working. I can afford my own shit and I will continue to do so until that's not an option. I guess I'll become a retro gamer. Retro gaming and homebrew will be the future of Xbox in my opinion. Guys will have to figure out their own way of getting homebrew network running, and I'm sure they will. Microsoft has come and it's all about greed, minimalising their costs, maximising player spending, killing gaming all the way to mobile gaming was supposed to do. Sony, please don't listen to this guff. You'll be forever the champion of the gamers remaining for the players. Now this was in reaction to our topic about Microsoft claims that Sony are no longer their rivals. This gentleman here completely is against the mobile gaming in general, regardless of whether or not it's xCloud.
Is it?
Asif Ifas, and then he also replied to his own comment saying, it definitely does sound like a twat. It's not actual gambling that can be viewed as it gets screwed to deal with. This is a customized trap to trap people into addiction. Kind of like a drug dealer who chooses to hang around schools. That's what this gambling world does. Pure scum it. And obviously that's in relation to any kind of microtransactions that we've been talking about over the last couple of years.
Thank you for the comments, Asif. That's very much appreciated. Yes, I think that's our first mega rant on YouTube, which is good to see. It's good to see that we're driving people with enough passion to have put a 2 or 3 paragraph worth of content together. Yeah. So thank you very much for the comment.
But I mean, he is. Oh God, I've done it wrong. He's clearly completely against the use of any kind of streaming service. He specifically called out the Netflix style gaming, which obviously is now. Not particularly GeForce, because you already own the games, but you are paying to be able to play it at a premium, not just in the free category. Then you've got xCloud, you've got Google Stadia, and then PlayStation now. I think it may have already come to mobile, but it hasn't quite got the push that it's got across the other platforms. So it's a very interesting take, and he's completely against it all. In respect, it's kind of like myself as a collector who likes to buy the physical side of games. He doesn't appreciate the way that the game is going. And we've both said quite a lot of times on this show that we do feel like the streaming side of things is the way to go when you want to consume your games. There's nothing. I don't think there will be. There isn't anything better for me at the moment, knowing full well that I could take my Nintendo Switch wherever I go in the world and be able to play the likes of Skyrim, which I never would have thought been possible with a console like that. But it's interesting to see that this conversation will carry on to be the main topic of conversation for all these gaming companies and consumers. I think for the next 2 or 3 years.
I still, I mean, like we've said before, I'm split in terms of I love the tactile feeling of having a game. That's the word that I use every time we talk about it. It's tactile. Being able to hold it, have it in your hand, job's good, and that's me. That's where I want to be. However, about 95% of the games I've had over the last 2 years have been digital. Partially because I'm in the games industry and that's the way that it shifted, but partially because convenience as well. Yeah. It was easy for me to pay for my second copy of PUBG on the PlayStation, because why not have 2 copies? No, one for me, one for my little one. But my second copy, it was easier to buy it online in a sale than it was to go to the Trafford Centre and pay for games inflated prices. And
but it's not just that though. When you go to game, do you actually get a physical disc with that, or is it a code for you to download?
On the Xbox, it was codes, but now I believe it's discs.
Oh, right, on PlayStation. Okay.
Yeah, and not only that, like we're talking about inflated pricing. I think that's the issue. My issue with digital stores is if one of them takes off. So if not the GeForce Now is a store, but let's say it is GeForce Now or xCloud, also not a store, or Stadia is a store. They control the price points, and if there's no competition, the thing that's good with Steam and Epic is you're both on the same console. You're both on the same format platform, so they will compete. You don't have a monopoly. You have open, healthy competition, which is why costs drop, which is all you can hope for as a consumer. One thing we did miss though. Thank you. I've no idea if that's supposed to say a word, but let's say BR39D4. Yeah. If that's a word, I apologise for butchering that. But thank you very much for the follow 24 minutes ago. Yeah, having healthy competition, that's really good for the consumer. But if we switch where only one takes off, or we have one market that dominates, what's going to stop them from going, actually, 65 quid for this game? Because we see that as much as we love Xbox and as we love PlayStation, it's not really great value pre-ordering a game digitally on PlayStation Pay for it, because you're going to spend 65 quid for a game that could be 45 quid launch day, and then or 30 quid if you go to a Tesco and they're trying to sell you a bottle of Fanta Fruit Twist or whatever with it at the same time.
But I mean, in regard, digital could have killed off physical media many, many years ago, but they've chosen to take the premium route. If you used to go onto a PlayStation store or an Xbox store and that game is not in the sale, you're probably paying the same as what you would do in game, or maybe even a little bit more.
You always pay day one price as well.
Yeah.
The RRP remains on digital. They don't go... I mean, you expect that from Nintendo, because Nintendo have always done that. But for a PlayStation game, it comes out at 45 quid, and you think, fair enough, I'm spending 45 quid. You know that 2 weeks later, it's going to be 40 quid, 35 quid. 6 months later, it's going to be 25 quid, or 2 for 40 quid or something like that. And you're like, oh, nice. And a lot of people kind of live in that sort of mindset of, if it's one of 3 games a year kind of thing, the big ones, yeah, I'll get that on launch day. But most of them, I can wait until it comes into a bundle or discounts or sales or whatever. And you do get the sales digitally, but they're not as beneficial in terms of sales. You might get 8% off, and it's like, who? What? Because it's digital, you can go 8%, but in a store, if they went 8% off, you'd be like,
it's not worth it.
Not even give me 10%, you absolute whopper.
But digital could have killed off physical a long time ago, but they're both rivaling each other for the prices. Whereas if you shop around and go onto things like base.com or play.com or Rakuten or whatever it's called now, or the games collection where I buy most of my physical games from still, the price is still like £30 to £35. Why would I want to spend that on play? Why would I want to? Usually when you order from them places as well, you get it like 2 or 3 days beforehand. Whereas if you go to a game, you're paying £20 more. If you go onto PlayStation Store, you're paying £15 more than that. Why would I want to do that when I know I can go onto a third-party website and buy them for cheaper?
And like you buy it from that third-party website, you get it, and you can go, actually, do you know what? I'm gonna play this game on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm admittedly not the same as everyone else in terms of I can play the game at home, and then when I come to the office, we have obviously the studio, so I can play games at work as well, so I can just go disc in, jobs are good, and or I can go to a friend's house, disc in, jobs are good, and I know you can do that digitally, but you have to then log into your account to have games downloaded, and it's just not as convenient in that sense. That said, having to take a disc everywhere, or if you're away and you think, do you know what, I'd really love to smash a game on Modern Warfare, and I've not got it with me, but I'll just download it. It'll be ready in an hour. Well, 6 weeks. So there are positives and negatives both. I do firmly believe that digital is the way to go. We scoffed when Microsoft was saying an all digital version of the Xbox One X kind of thing, or One S or whatever it is. The One S all digital or whatever it's called. It's like, no disk drive, you mentalist. The PSP had an all-digital version.
PSP Go,
yeah. I never got it, but I never got it because I was like, why would I want it?
I had a shitload of discs knocking about. Do you know what I mean?
I can't play a DVD on a really tiny screen that's being crapped into a weird format. Why would I buy that? But I mean, that's the thing. We as consumers, generally, not everyone, don't like change. This is what we're used to. Why would we change? But if we didn't change, we'd still be watching black and white tube transistor TVs kind of thing. Yeah.
See, I'm definitely a product of my time. I am very much into the physical mindset. When Resident Evil comes out in less than 2.5 weeks now, 2 weeks on Friday, in fact, I'm going to be driving, like I did last year, driving to Tesco down the road, picking up a copy of that, potentially a lot of coffees to put in our little machine in there as well, and then being able to play rather than having... I'll get it on the day of release, obviously. However, if I was to buy it digitally, it's locked until the second that I can play it as well. So if I wasn't streaming, I mean, I'm definitely one of them people that I'd like... If I am going to be streaming, I will adhere to the time, purely for the sake of people who've worked so hard on it. They don't want things being leaked. So
yeah, we shout out to the team at Capcom as well. We've had some support on our Resident Evil content this last year, so we absolutely would. I mean, not paid, by the way. We can say what we want, do what we want, but we'd also bear that in mind when it comes to our content. So stream it, nerd.
Yeah,
it's funny actually, because we said a couple of weeks ago that we were doing a sponsored content on release, so a sponsored stream on release day. We've shuffled things around now, so we've shelved the sponsored stuff for now because Resident Evil takes the priority. So Bibby, whether he wants to or not, will be forced to shit himself on stream for our enjoyment.
Absolutely,
on release day.
I take great pleasure in that. But yeah, I will be adhering to it. I could order it on the games collection and get it 3 days early. Like I used to get Pezzies like 3 or 4 days early before I was even streaming the game. So obviously I used to play that shit. But
yeah, I mean that's the thing. A lot of people kind of don't realise that as well. There is a trade-off. If you are a content creator, be it a YouTuber, be it a hobbyist, be it a streamer that's looking to do a channel for whatever reasons, there is a tightrope. There's a fine line. You basically want to. The balancing act is. Get the views, get it out quick, get it out early, get the views, everyone sees it, your channel grows, the growth of your channel gives you a lot more freedoms in terms of it makes you more marketable to sponsors, it gives you more potential to get more viewers in your stream, more viewers is potentially more interaction, more engagement, which then leads to more revenue, which then allows you to be more creative with your content. It's all good, everyone high fives, more creative content, better experience for everyone, that's what everyone wants, that's the long game. Or so in your strive for that, you get the game 3 days early. I can stream it 3 days early. You get the views and stuff, or you wait until New Zealand goes live. You technically can stream the game according to New Zealand's thing. I never got it from the publisher. I got it myself, and people are streaming in New Zealand. I can stream it. I'm in New Zealand, say I'm not. But then the flip side is if you want to work with publishers. If you break their embargoes, because if you're in the UK and the publisher knows you from the UK and you've got a UK copy and you're streaming it at New Zealand times, there are loopholes to get around it. It's just a bit shit and it sets you in a bad light. So the publishers will be like, do you know what? I'm not even going to factor you in when it comes to the next time. So it's the balance of getting out first, but also not burning your bridges.
Well, we've seen it with Nintendo France very recently. They posted all of their Pokemon Go stuff in line with something else, which was completely against the embargo that was set for them by the Nintendo company, and they have now been blackballed, and you'll never see them being sent to a Nintendo conference again. So fair enough, your website might have got a shitload of traction for the Pokemon Sword and Scale stuff, but good luck in trying to get the next Pokemon.
Unlucky. Just jumping back through the chat. I've lost the mouse. Where is it? There we go. It's always baffled me how digital is more expensive when the process of physical media costs more to create, disc printing, box and shipping. Absolutely, and it takes months as well. The phrase going gold, a game will go gold, which is i.e. be printed and pressed, about 4 to 6 to 8 weeks before you buy it. That's why day one updates and stuff exist. If you don't have to do the press and shipping printing as large scale, there's less need for day one updates because you can keep developing through it, which means there's less crunch and it's overall better for the industry, but yet they still have that costing, which is annoying as hell. I might be old school, but digital games prices to me feel like you're still being charged for the disc manufacturing. Absolutely, that's what it seems like. It's like, wow, we'll pay for everything. That is the positive for digital media, just being able to jump between games without having to get up and change discs. Stream it, nerd. That was about Reze. The game collection used to be the dons at getting games out to you, really. I remember having called Modern Warfare on 360 nearly a week before it was released. I picked up Modern Warfare 2, and how was it? I think it was. And I managed to buy it a day early from, it was Regent Road Sainsbury's was selling it because... and I've only ever had it with 2 games. I had it with PES 6 I bought from Game in Huddersfield because Woolworths was selling it, and they were like, it's not supposed to come out till Thursday or Friday, and they sold it on a Tuesday. So I was like, yeah, boy, I'll have it. So I bought that one, and the other one was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Sainsbury's was selling it because I think it must have been Game or something in the Arndale was selling it. So they were like, well, if they're selling it, we're going to sell it. So I went in, and whenever I say buy a game with Fanta Fruit Twist or whatever, it's because I went in there, bought a bottle of Fanta Fruit Twist, a large bag of crisps, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Well,
Bam!
that's your standard release day package, isn't it? You look after yourself that way.
Morning, fellas, says Madge.
Morning, Madge.
Morning. But yes, we're talking about Resident Evil and streaming it on launch day. From one bit of Resident Evil to another, we'll jump into our next article. If Bribby can just press...
Make it bigger.
Go on. Bibby can have a go at words because, you know, he's
I'm all about the words. So for those of you that have been tuning into any kind of Resident Evil content, whether that be this channel or my Twitter, will know that and OP3 Precision as well, if you are in the stream, will know that we was talking about this last week, potentially shitting ourselves at the prospect of Nemesis barging into the safe room now, but that doesn't appear to be the case, and we will find out in this article. So Polygon, it's on Polygon. Turns out Resident Evil 3 safe rooms are still safe. And this has been written by Nicole Carpenter. Okay, I guess there's somewhere to hide, and there's a burning picture of Nemesis as he looks like he's engulfed in flames.
Nemesis on fire.
Okay, so Resident Evil 3 safe rooms are safe after all. The sanctuary of the game's safe rooms, just like the words in Resident Evil 2, will be off limits to Nemesis, though he will still be able to break down doors to get to Jill Valentine. The confusion began after official Xbox's magazine outlined an encounter with Nemesis in a room with a progress-saving typewriter, the editor said. It was a mistake for a safe room, but apparently there will be clues in the music and elsewhere to determine where's safe and where's not. A Capcom representative confirmed to Polygon that Nemesis cannot enter safe rooms, and we now all can breathe a sigh of relief. Nemesis, the hulking bioweapon who can now wield a flamethrower, is terrifying, but there will be reprieve. I think I just heard a whole internet let out that sigh. Absolutely. And there's a little tweet embedded here.
It's just a gif of him
chasing Jill around the Raccoon Police Department. Quality. And I think the article just goes on to show what happened last week as the whole of Twitter, from my side of things, being a Resident Evil ambassador, I might add. I do have my badge somewhere knocking about, but yeah, the whole of Twitter, Resident Evil, went into meltdown, believing that Nemesis could come in and take you wherever you wanted to go, even in the safe rooms. Is horrible.
It was kind of mentioned on the Scoop on Friday that I wasn't in because there was a conference call. We have like a meeting room just next to us behind the soundproof wall. So this whole wall's covered in soundproofing.
Yeah.
There was a conference call going in there. Then on that conference call, that dialed all the way to Manchester where I was, and I was hearing Bibby laugh through that. Anyway, the reason I mention all that is I wasn't in, so I didn't see the Scoop, and because I was on a conference call, I didn't listen to it either. So when we were streaming Fortnite in the duos on Friday night, Precision was like, Nemesis breaking into a safe house. I was like, what? I think if you watch that video back, you'll just see me kind of like,
yeah,
just like the cogs are turning. Like, I don't know what it's meaning.
But that's the worst part about it. So the whole point of having a safe room is being safe from everything. So there's no zombies. I'm sure actually Mr. X, in very late towards the end of Resident Evil 2, comes into a safe room, but I'm sure it doesn't end up being a safe room towards the end because I don't want to spoil it for you.
Stuff.
It starts to do things, but knowing full well, I use a safe room to put your stuff into the box, also to sort out your inventory and to save the game. Seems to be the only place that you are able to take a breather and sort your inventory out and reload your guns for you to be able to go back out in there. If you didn't get the opportunity to inventory manage anywhere in that game, it would just be absolute chaos. So the thought of him coming in, I mean, this
gifs are amazing.
This gift pretty much sums it up.
Me running into the safe room to reach the chest to heal my ass. Nemesis.
That pretty much summed up how I thought that was end up gonna happen.
I love the next one. This one is amazing. What's the comment? Me, I think I made it to the safe room. Nemesis.
But this was pretty much how Twitter went over the weekend. Oh god, I've just clicked on the tweet. I've clicked on the tweet.
No,
I've clicked on the tweet. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back. Oh no, it's opened in a new window. That's why.
Get out of here.
Nemesis is able to break into save rooms. Yeah. I'll just be like Adam Driver with a face like that. The article continues. Official Xbox magazine said it would have more confirmation next week on just how big of a threat Nemesis poses in Resident Evil 3. Spoiler alert, I think it's pretty big, obviously. And then it goes on to say when you can get the game. But there's a little correction at the bottom. Correction, Games Radar Plus and the official Xbox magazine have issued a correction so that Nemesis is not actually able to break into the safe room. This article has been updated to reflect that information.
So I think what we could take away from this is that whilst I was streaming on Friday, Precision just blatantly lied to me on stream.
If you are still a Precision, you bad liar.
Yeah, he'll be off doing his rehabulizing. What it was nebulizing, but what did we call it last time?
I have no idea. I completely butchered it anyway.
Yeah, I can't, like vaping.
Yeah, he was just doing his morning vapes, looking at big fat rips.
I can't remember what we said it, but it wasn't nebulizing.
Adam Online says, my playthrough of Resident Evil 3 will be sat in the safe room shitting myself. Welcome to the club. Marsh says, lucky for you, Bribbit. I can't wait to see you screaming playing it. I can't wait for it either. As Players does the lol. Next Gen Renegade, imagine he could get into the safe room. It would be terrifying. Exactly, there'd just be nowhere to go. It's called a safe room for a reason.
Remember the safe word.
Yeah. Fatman Dave says, I don't know why Mr. X looks like Dolph Lundgren to me. He looks like... Compared to what Nemesis looks like in the third one, compared to what Mr. X looks like in the second one, someone said that he just looks like an old man with a wilting face, and he genuinely does. He just looks like an 8-foot bloke.
It does look like Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
It's the chin.
Yeah. It's the chin. It just looks like a shriveled ball sack to me. But yeah, do not forget we will be putting stuff live closer to the time, but we will be streaming it on day of release, obviously, because it's Resident Evil. And what else will we be doing?
How about we do some giveaway stuff as well?
Well, we have still got a box of merch to give away, mate.
You say it as if we haven't just carefully stashed it away for this occasion. It's like it's just sat there.
I mean, he's been teasing me sat in the corner for since Resident Evil 2, so yeah. That's
it.
Gonna happen.
I was thinking, like, when I said he does look like Dolph Lundgren, I was like, and then I instantly went to Ivan Drago, and I was like, what is it Ivan Drago says? But I didn't say it out loud, so I thought, do you know what? It's pointless stopping the stream to just mention Ivan Drago. There in the chat, ask him if he dies, he dies.
He never lets you down, does he?
Good
he
lad.
Never lets you down with references.
Although he did have a good comment before. About I used to do it with Wolves all the time in my teens. Sweet old lady had no idea. Get games early. Just imagine Smooth Talker ass him sliding up to the carpet, just like a.
Hey.
All right, Doris. That blue rinse is looking mighty fine today.
This isn't good. It's not been taken down, has it?
Oh, it's back.
Is this one that we want to go through next?
Yes. So jumping on to our next bit of news, and from Bibby's ice cream
ding ding ding
ding ding ding ding ding ding to we got to mine, which is PUBG. I will break you, says Magic Man in the chat, still on the Ivan Drago hype train. But now, PUBG is looking for player feedback for its upcoming competitive mode, written by Emily Gera for VG247. PUBG's competitive mode is still underway, but before it arrives, there's still an entire rule set to figure out. Cue the players. The game's developer is asking players to test out a new ranked rule set through the PUBG Labs feature, which was introduced not too long ago to test out different potential experimental features and changes. This particular ranked rule set is a mix between the casual and esports experience, introducing various changes to the existing systems of loot spawning, as well as how the blue zone works, PUBG Corp says. It's now available in both first-person and third-person mode. You can try out the new ranked rule set right now, which is currently live in Pub Labs until March the 9th, after which feedback and player data will be used to help, in the words of PUBG Corporation, amplify that competitive spirit. Like our previous skill-based rating test, we're looking to PUBG Labs to gather your feedback as quickly and efficiently as possible, reads a post from the team on the first iteration of ranked rule set. During this labs test, we will be analysing the data and your feedback to better understand what our players are enjoying, and we'll adjust the rule set accordingly before we take it live. Feedback from this test will help us determine if it's right for our upcoming competitive mode or whether we need to make some adjustments, the team concluded. So, be sure to share your thoughts on what you do and do not like. While we're not quite ready to dive into the specifics of the upcoming competitive mode, keep an eye out for another announcement with more details in the coming months. And then there's an embedded tweet a little bit further down.
So I have absolutely no idea what goes on in the PUBG world because I am not a PUBG player, but I understand that Fortnite does have a competitive mode to it. I can't remember what it's called. But
It's called Bibby and Graham Stomping Ground.
well, there is that. There is
I
that.
apologise for the gold diggers.
What is the what's the crack with this then?
Well, the gist of this is, and it's quite interesting. Not even in a PUBG mindset. I mean, I'm a big PUBG fan, but this stuff kind of gets lost on me because it's the gist is in pub games, i.e. public matches, you have whatever loot spawn rates they are, you have circle movement speeds and vehicle spawns, but in esports play, you basically get less of the crap loot, more of the good loot. You get loads more vehicle spawns, and the circles move slower, but do more damage. So the gist of it is, it's all on you. The circles move slower, but do more damage, means you've got plenty of opportunity to get into the circle. Mm-hmm. If you get caught, it's on you. You're going to die, pretty much. It's on you. Well, especially later on. And then the other bit is obviously the amount of loot and the amount of vehicle spawns means that you can get fully kitted out. So you don't have. You're not going to be running into a fight against like Nemesis, and you're sat there with like a spud gun going. I love the idea of all that. The downside of that is it whilst it levels the playing field, so everyone has an even chance. Part of the beauty of BR is getting that pistol kill when some guy dressed like Arnold Schwarzenegger rocks up on you like pa pa pa.
Yeah, it's sticking you and I go boom.
So for me personally, that stuff is kind of lost on me from a PUBG standpoint because I'm like I'll take it either way. As long as the experience is good, I'll take it either way. But the bit that's good is seeing the trade-off between casual players and those with esports competitive mindset, seeing how they kind of work together, because this has been ongoing for months and months, years even. I know they introduced what they call comp circles, which are the ones where rather than the blue coming in pretty quickly and you get stuck in it and you can't outrun it, pro players were saying we should always be able to outrun the blue, always, especially at the end where it absolutely chunks at your health. You shouldn't be able to get stuck. If you're healing and the circle comes past you and you have to then run out of it, that's on you. So they changed that, but then there was a massive outcry from the community and they changed it back like 24 hours later. So they spent months listening to feedback, developing it, thinking, oh, this is really good, roll it out, and then quickly turn it off straight away rather than giving people time to get used to the change. So seeing how all of this works, it would be quite good to see what wins. Are they going to stick with the masses in terms of everyone that plays the game every day? So,
well, sure, you'd play it on two different servers, wouldn't you? You'd have two different. So you'd have ranked, three. You'd have ranked, unranked, and then competitive. And then the competitive has all the high loot, slower blue circles. Ranked would be just playing for your rank.
The
as
issue
a normal person.
with that, I mean, that's not too bad for something like a Modern Warfare or whatever. You've got 16 or 30 player lobbies. When you've got 100 player lobbies on a game that's 2 years old, then dropping it down, because you've got first person, third person, ranked, unranked, competitive, and then you've got Miramar, Erangel, Sanhok, Karakin maps. Then you've got to split that down again by solos, duos, and squads.
Yeah.
The players, because obviously you're timesing it by each thing. Your loading times could be huge, so they have to figure out ways to go. Okay, we need to give you options, but we can't give you all the options because you'll never get into a game. You'll go in with 12 other people across this massive map, and it's like, hello, like 28 days later,
a lot of bots.
So,
but if they have competitive, and then we'll just get rid of ranked and we'll just have unranked. How would that then sit with the community? Because surely, as me personally, I'll be terrible at the game anyway. I am terrible at the game. If I'd just playing unranked until I thought I was decent enough to be able to go into the compet or the ranked games. So how would that then split between the people? Why would they need to technically roll it back to benefit the community outcry? Because there should be a fine. In fact, it's not even a fine line. There should be a line drawn in the sense to say, if you want all these features, play there. If you don't want all these features, play in there. I mean, surely that's the way that the developers need to be looking at it. Then.
You kind of expect it. Well, you'd think so, but I think the idea was the developers had their thoughts in mind, and then the community kind of gave their thoughts, and then when they changed it, and some of the community backlashed, it was like, oh, well, we were right all along, so they turned it back, and they kind of left it at that. And I think the fact that they've had a few different versions of PUBG Labs, and the fact that they're trying another one, means that they know that it's not quite right, but they're not sold enough on the idea of changing it, so they're trying to push it forward, which is good. Which is, I mean, it won't be good for everyone. Someone will have a dislike to it. I like the idea of having some sort of rank, basing it around like skill-based matchmaking. And we were playing it last night, and particularly this last couple of weeks, more than ever, the difference between consoles. Like when I as a PS player of PUBG on console, think that there is a massive bias towards Xbox players. I've seen Xbox players saying the same thing to Sony. So because it's such a consistent conversation line, I don't necessarily say that Xbox have it better, but I think it's kind of a roll of the dice. Some will have it better in some games, and some whatever it is. There's disparity. So having some sort of ranking, if it's ideally skill based, so that you get put against. If Xbox players, if they do have a preferential system, then put them with Xbox and get the PlayStation guys mainly together, and then just fill it up with the rest. Or whatever. Then that all kind of works for me because everyone just gets a better experience overall. But it'd be interesting to see where it goes. The difficult thing is, and we've seen it on many different games, not necessarily stuff that worked on, but in the industry. Look at my hair, wow, I'm a Lego man. But video game communities are very passionate and they have opinions, but opinions are like arseholes. Everyone has one. Just because you have one doesn't necessarily mean it's right, and that's the thing with the internet. A lot of people have an opinion on game modes, on microtransactions, on whatever, and because they have an opinion, and usually with the internet as well, an echo chamber validates that opinion. That's right, it should be fine. But then there's a million one other reasons. It might not be right for someone else, or it might be right for most people, but it's just not financially viable for the company.
Absolutely.
And if it's not financially viable, they're not going to make money from it, and it's going to impact the bottom lines, then it's going to impact the game, and you're not going to get other updates, so swings around and about. But yeah, be interesting to see how they take this and build on it going forward, because it's not something that sounds amazing right now, but it'd be a nice case study to see where video games go from there.
Well, I mean, all it does is try and increase the level of the esports side of PUBG, and obviously as a people that enjoy watching esports and being a part of esports events, then hopefully this is the only way up for PUBG.
We'll see.
We will see.
It does appear to have a decent development team behind it, PUBG, says Magic Man.
From the outside looking in, you would think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think their issues are they are still very, very embryonic. They've Blue Hole Company. I mean, they're a completely different company name from when they first started. Blue Hole. It's now PUBG Corporation, which is that shows you that they started off as basically a mobile game developer that bit off more than they can chew and have grown exponentially. So I think get a few more years under the belt, get a few more teams, and they've opened offices, closed offices, changed production studios, and I think they will be a really good company. They're trying to work with comms lines. There are shitloads of bugs and shits in the game, but the signs around it all are really good. Yeah. A lot of people will say they are shit devs, but they're not. They're just
overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think that's the case. So if they could just drop it all and roll out PUBG 2, which they've built, they know the demand and the size and the scale for it, then I think they'd be a bit better. But they've had to upscale on something that's smaller. Anyway, Magic said also, if that's your jam, and then Ad says my jam is strawberry. Well, there you go. That's fun fact. Anyway, on to our next bit of news. Cyberpunk 2077 marks International Women's Day with a fresh peek at its default female protagonist, Miss V, a pleasure. This is written by Vikki Blake for Eurogamer.net, and she says, to mark International Women's Day, Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red has revealed a new version of the default female protagonist. In a brief tweet that simply says, Miss V, a pleasure, followed by the hashtag for International Women's Day, the tweet gives us our first peek at the updated female lead, who's had her appearance tweaked with red hair since we last saw her in action. When a commenter said, what we need is reversible box art, the company replied with, you're looking at it, smiley face. CD Projekt became the second largest video game company in Europe, second only to Ubisoft in terms of its market valuation, though it was valued at $6.8 billion, which is £5.2 billion. Just a month ago, it's now hit $8 billion following the release of the Acclaim Witcher 3 on Nintendo Switch, and its sales rocketing by 500%. Skipping. Oh, that's just filler content because they don't really have much to say. So the gist of it is, they've updated the character.
Mm-hmm. It's not a massive news article. However, it's just something else to look at, innit? We did the same last week with the new map stuff. It's just something to fill the gap.
There is a nice touch in there, and I say nice. It triggers a lot of people when you start to talk about. When I say a lot of people, I need to find a way to say this carefully without offending one side or the other. Basically, they originally had choose your gender, male or female, and they've removed that from the game after a bit of a backlash from some people going the fact that you're having to predefine a gender rather than just picking what you want your character to look like. So they've kind of taken that on board and then moved ahead and go, do you know what, that's actually really good. Why do you need to say that you're male or female? You could just say you want to be this character, which for most people might go, oh, that's a female character.
Yeah.
But for someone else, that might go, that looks like me, but I'm not a female in my mind. So that's fine. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a difference. But the reason I was trying to be careful about it because I saw that on the weekend, and then there was the standard people in the chat. Why can't you say male and female snowflakes? Does it really matter? You're still playing.
It actually doesn't, though, does it? To some people, it's the absolute world, but fucking go outside. You know what I mean? Walk around the park.
You are literally going. You're not going to change the options in game. You will be Miss V or Mr. V or whatever. You'll still be the same thing on screen. Does it matter that you clicked something that said gender or just a picture of a thing? Does that matter? Anyway, so yeah, they were getting a bit of hatred for that, but fair play to them. They took it on board, and that's the thing. Whether you agree with that or not, that's irrelevant. Let's have that conversation somewhere else. We don't want that conversation here. But what we do want to pick up on the fact is, look at the way CD Projekt Red kind of went, do you know what? We don't want to alienate anyone, and the picking a gender bit doesn't need to be there. Pick your skin for your character. That's all you're picking. But the fact that they recognised it, changed it, and put it straight into the game shows you how community oriented they are. It's like, okay, well, we can do this in a way that doesn't even make it an issue.
Absolutely.
And that's what whether it's about gender or whether it's about anything else functionally in game, it doesn't. The fact that they've just gone, this doesn't need to be an issue, and we don't want our community fighting over it. We will just make it fine for our community. GG. One more article,
mate. One more article.
Magic Man in the chat says Cyberpunk Craigasm. I love the Craigasm emote. We need a Bibby Craigasm.
No, we don't. No, I am not baiting myself to that.
I'll do it. It'll be Daygasm.
Yeah.
Okay. Final article of the day. UK charts. Pokémon Mystery Dungeon debuts at number 1. Nintendo Switch remake beats Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Pokémon Mystery Dungeon. I'm going to stop for a second. This is not a title. This is a paragraph for a game. It's like following the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, Duel Links. So, Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX.
Degeneration.
He's number 1 in this week's UK physical retail charts. The box version of the Nintendo Switch game beats out Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which drops to number 2. Digital download data is not included in the charts, obviously.
Oh, sick.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX is a remake of the very original games in the Mystery Dungeon series, which was released on Game Boy Advance, Red version, and Nintendo DS, Blue version, back in 2006. Those games reached number 14 and number 34, respectively. The last game in the series was Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, which was released in February 2016 on Nintendo 3DS and reached number 9. Compared to that game, this new title's debut sales are 37.6% larger. Oof. It is one of 4 of Nintendo Switch exclusives in the top 10, the others being Minecraft, number 7, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, number 8, and Luigi's Mansion 3, number 10. Last week's big new release, 2 Point Hospital, drops from number 2 to number 6 with a 69% fall in sales week on week. And a price drop for Lego Harry Potter Collection sees the Warner Brothers game rise 101% in sales and reach number 17. Otherwise, it's a pretty quiet week for all the game's retail space, as it has been all year. Things do pick up slightly towards the end of the month with Animal Crossing New Horizons on Switch and Doom Eternal, the big releases. Next week sees the arrival of Ori and Will of the Wisp on Xbox One. And here is the GFK Top 10 for the week ending March the 7th. So on screen, I won't run through them. But the standard things in there: Call of Duties, GTA's, FIFA's, and the rest.
Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto last week being number 4, and then going up again to number 3, mate. It's been 7 years. It's been 7 years, and it's still in the top 5.
2 generations it's been going, and it's still, it still has a podium position in the video games retail space.
It's disgustingly brilliant. It's disgustingly brilliant because what else is there to say about Grand Theft Auto that's not been said already? There genuinely is nothing. The way that they're keeping that game as a live service and knocking it out of the park for people who still... This isn't people playing the game. This is people going out and buying the game. So it's not as if it's just a live... It's not just live numbers of people on all 3 platforms playing it. It's people willingly... It says that... It's at the top, not including digital sales, but I imagine for these chart stuff that are in there, it still includes digital sales. I don't think there's that many people going to the shop to buy Grand Theft Auto, but the fact that it's still being bought.
That chart, it wouldn't include anyone that buys GTA over PSN or Steam or anything.
Jesus Christ, that's even better then. There's people still 7 years ago who maybe if you aren't 18 and you're playing that game, then it is highly illegal. But if you was if you was 11 when this game came out and you are now 18, congratulations.
You're now open to buy it.
But the fact that the game came out 7 years ago and it's still in, like say, podium positions is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. We'll never see anything like it again.
No, it's and that shows that. See, the online, the always on thing again shows how far Xbox One always on needs to be plugged in all the time to get full use of everything it comes with. You mad? And now Grand Theft Auto Online always on environment sells forever. And it's like, oh yeah, and it's just kind of standard place. Who are we? Who were we 10 minutes ago when the old generation was coming out? I don't know why I'm excited for it as much, but I just want to get the secondary school RPG days vibe of the genre again.
That was for Cyberpunk.
Okay. 17th or something like that is MLB The Show 20. I've never played an MLB. I do have MLB The Show 19 or whatever.
Yeah, we got it for PS Plus, didn't we?
Yeah. I was contemplating buying it on PlayStation at the weekend, even though I have an Xbox. What? GTA?
Amazing.
So you are these people.
Yeah, you are these people.
People who rage snap the disc after being killed by planes or helicopters buying a new one.
That was the reason why I literally stopped playing that game on my Xbox 360, because every time I load into a game, Alpi would find me and kill me. So I'd be driving around in my car and he'd just rocket launch my car, so I'd just die.
I hated it where you'd it'd spawn you in and you'd die, and to try be useful, it spawns you in like just a street away. But obviously your marker appears on the map kind of thing, so people would blow you up and then you'd appear there and they'd come and blow you up. And it was
I
just
couldn't
like...
get away from it. It's so annoying. But yeah, there's 7 years and it's still kicking on. Not just the player live base, but this game is still being sold. Like Rockstar must... It was the cartoon character that jumped into a load of money.
Scrooge McDuck.
It's Scrooge. Hey, they are doing that.
Although
I do have issues. Bills.
I do have issues with that, because Scrooge McDuck stands on a balcony and jumps into his wedge of coins.
Coins.
If you have a stack of coins, you're not jumping into that like it's water. You are just smashing your teeth. There's going to be like bits of Scrooge McDuck all over the place.
I'm sure there was a Family Guy version of that where Stewie and Brian jumped into it and then just seeing the heads fall into it and then just like blood all around the mouth, teeth fall off the floor, broken arms. But yeah, it's unbelievable. We are never, ever, 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 quote me on this, ever going to see another game like Grand Theft Auto 5 in terms of player base still being sold or anything after 7 years like this. It's
okay, incredible. I don't get why Graham says was spell checked to events to begin with. How long till events begin with... Oh, is that supposed to be Graham? How long till Graham begins with... Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ice Cream Uploads proudly brings to you the #1 podcast in the world!
There was absolutely no heart in that whatsoever.
What, in me?
Yeah, there was no heart in that.
I'm not going to go
You need to channel your inner road dog.
I don't want to do it because...
I know there's someone in there, but they need to know who they're dealing with.
Let me see.
Is it still business? Yeah, it is. Oh, one day you're going to get the heartfelt version of that.
There is actual formal stuff happening there, so I won't go too loud. But yeah, I can do that. We'll come in. I'll make you sit over there, and we'll do like lights down kind of thing.
I'm wearing a vest.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm wearing a vest when it happens.
That's all right. I'm coming in with fucking like cornrows. The new show has franchise relocation back in it. If you like manager-type sports games, it's a top-tier game.
I don't know the rules of baseball. Is it like rounders, but bigger?
You try to avoid getting hit in the face.
Okay.
Speaking of which, there was loaded up Twitter this morning, and it was like, baseball player gets broken jaw after ball hits him in face. I was like, that is why you don't play baseball.
That'd be first pitch. Bam, broken jaw. It might shut me up for a bit, but still.
Nah, it's not for me, love. It's not for me. I mean, I love the idea of whacking it, but it's the same thing. Cricket. I played cricket once, and I was like, you love cricket?
I fucking love cricket.
Whopper.
I used to. Do you know what I actually used to? I mean, I used to be quite good at football. I used to be quite good at bowling. Not batting.
Oh no, it was the other way for me. Smacking it, yes, but bowling, it's you watch someone and they run along and they like run and jump, and it's like, yeah, fine. Me trying to do that, my legs and my arms do not work together. It's like, and it's like, I remember being in a PE lesson, and there's a guy at my school called Greg who came from Trinidad, and he was like a mountain. Yeah. But he literally lived and breathed cricket, so he was like amazing. He's like trying to give me like, no, you run, and then just do shit, let it go. But I was like, nice. So I'm stood there doing it. It's like, yeah, you go, just run and do that. I was like, fine, yeah. So it's like standing there, boom, yeah, running, yeah, together, and it was just like
falling over, face full of ground.
I can't do it, so I had to just walk up to it, stop, and then just ball.
But no, I used to be quite a good fast bowler, but now I am a fat fuck. It will 100% be a slow ball or a spin, because you only have to do like three steps before you get to the wicket, which is great.
Yeah, it's not for me, Jeff.
Love it.
Breaking news, Graham Day good at smacking it. And that's why cricketers have face guards, duh. I can't remember what sport it was. I think it must have been cricket. Someone bowled, and it was like high ball, and it just kind of went dunk and got stuck in. Was it cricket?
Yeah, even in professional cricket now, people get like the ball, because the visor covers, like you can still see your eyes. It covers the head and your jaw, but it doesn't cover underneath. So if people do like a high ball, where they'll bounce it a bit further away so it comes up towards you.
A bit top.
Yeah, it goes underneath.
Throat punch.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. You see people falling over.
Well, it was either the backstop or whatever you call it in baseball, the dude that's sitting there waiting to do the.
Yeah.
Or it was cricket, one of them, and I just seen a ball just getting like wedged in the visor thing, and like, damn! Imagine it being like there on your eye. Like,
I don't think they use helmets in baseball. I think it's a baseball cap.
They have like it's basically a baseball cap with a plastic over one ear kind of thing, whichever one you're facing. But it's the dude that squats behind him with the
wicket keeper in cricket. It is.
Yeah, that's what I said. Backstop.
The backstop.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure what they're calling in baseball, but it just seems to me that it's an American rounders, and that was enough to put me off.
Honestly, take a good sport and just add padding. Rugby, always get some pads on it. American football. But rounders, get a guy with pads on. Baseball.
Yeah, that's all it feels like. You're just playing rounders on a big scale. I mean, this is the most popular. This podcast is more popular in America, and I probably just.
Sorry, guys, we didn't mean it. We take it all back. We love you, lads.
I don't. You spoke shit. Just play football or soccer ball.
Added time multi-ball. But anyway, on that xenophobic finish to the show, we love you, America.
Get fucking better sports. It's not difficult, is it? You have a Super Bowl that lasts about 20 minutes, but it's like a 9-hour build up to it. Who's doing that?
Just get fucking wasted.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, I can't remember, I was listening to something on the way in, and I heard the word Seattle this morning. It was coronavirus. Seattle is like the most affected place in America, and whenever I hear the word Seattle now, it used to be like the Seattle like Needle or Sleepless in Seattle or whatever Seattle-y things. Now whenever I hear Seattle, Google it for yourselves and search for like American football, like American soccer fan or chant Seattle, and it's that cringy dude that stood there with his like neck scarf on going, fight and win.
Oh, I've seen that.
And it's just like fight and win.
And the rest of the crowd shouting back to us. Oh god.
It's like, oh no.
Imagine that at a Premier League ground, mate. You'd be getting all sorts thrown at you.
Let's go Seattle.
Yeah, the stewards will literally drag you by your neck and throw you out. We don't want any of that shit.
Yeah, mate, sit down, dickhead. You're being proper loud, and my kid's trying to get an hot dog.
You'd be getting glassed. It's inevitable.
It might be intimidating having a team that looks like Jason Voorhees with hockey masks. That's true. That's why we have Bibby on Ice Cream Uploads. Anyway, on that bombshell, we are going to end the show. Thank you very much, each and every single person, for dropping in the chats, for the follows and the hosts that we've had during the stream as well. I said the stream. During the creation of the UK's #1 podcast. That's what I meant to say.
That's exactly what we mean.
But yeah, we will be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I won't be. Bibby and Luke will be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I only dropped in because it's 100 Spectacular. That's it. I'm done for the week. No, I'm not. I will be back from the home streams on Wednesday and Thursday too. And also, we have some Josie fun times. Josie is back, and do you know what? I don't know if Josie even knows it, but we have a nice, sexy new graphic. So if you're going to tune in to Josie's streams, tune in at 12 noon tomorrow. We have the scoop at 10, and then at 12 noon tomorrow, Josie will be back with more playthroughs of... Has she finished Dishonored, or is she...
She finished the original one, now she's on Dishonored 2.
So she'll be playing through Dishonored. But yeah, she has a nice, sexy new graphic to start the show. Kind of like the Scooby one, but do you know, I was going to play it, but then I thought, actually, I'm not going to steal her thunder.
No, just wait until tomorrow. I need to tell her that it's there, because she won't know it's there. Because she has no idea that it's there. But yeah, it's cool. It's very, very good.
So yes, 10 a.m. tomorrow for more Scoop, 12 noon tomorrow for Josie Plays, and yeah, 10 a.m. each and every day through the week, and then there'll probably be some extra streams in the evenings and stuff, because, you know, that's the way we do it. Yeah. So have yourselves a lovely day, and remember, until next time, what they're going to do, babe?
They've got to stay frosty!
Stay frosty!